But when no one opened up, I kicked the door down. I stepped inside and all the people turned to look at me. How dare you enter without our permission, they asked. You better leave. They said, you better run, because people like you are not welcome to be amongst people like us. But their threats didn't faze me. I found a quiet place to rest for the evening. And while the rest of the city slept, they came to set me on fire. But I didn't die that night when the flame kissed my skin. I became the fire itself. I burned so hot, the sun licked its lips in want of me. When they found me the next day, all lit up with rage, they dragged me to the shore to teach me what happens to girls who have the audacity to burn this bright. They held me underwater, but I didn't sink to the bottom as my flames went out. I shape-shifted into water and became the ocean. I took a deep breath in and I came crashing back in waves so big I sent everyone home, dripping wet with thoughts of me. Next day, we're often underestimated, we're paid less than men. Our work is still seen as less valuable than men's work. And it doesn't matter. I realize you could be anywhere in the world. You could be a woman living in a rural village in India, or you could be a CEO in the West. Patriarchy doesn't care. It will come and it will try to find you and it'll try to erase you. Imagine a random, unknown, 21-year-old girl born to immigrant parents, no connections to any industry, not a penny to her name, self-publishes a book of poetry between school and part-time jobs after being told that it would be the worst thing she could possibly do for her career. And, I remember approaching my professors and being like, I really want to publish this book of poems, and them essentially laughing, and I don't even blame them, because that was their reality, and they were like, oh no, nobody, forget about it. Nobody publishes poetry, there's no market for that, you're better off submitting your pieces into anthologies and journals and this and that, and I tried that for a minute, it wasn't working for me. And so I self-published anyway, because I was like, the people, these gatekeepers, the people who make these decisions about who gets published or what gets published, they will never be able to even relate to my work. So why would they publish it? And what do I have to lose? I was writing for, the 15-year-old girl who felt abused and had nothing and all of that. And so I self-published anyway. And this book went on to sell millions of copies and was on the New York Times bestseller list for over 100 weeks. And I recently found out that it stole the spot for highest selling collection of poetry from Homer's The Odyssey. Wild. That shit's crazy to me. Wild. I'm like, Homer, what's up? Move it along. There's a new bitch in town. And, you know, I laugh about it now, and it's like I can actually say these things out loud, but for so long I was just like terrified because all of these great things were happening, but I didn't feel, and I wasn't welcomed into the literary world. I was, most of the time, a lot of the time made fun of. You know, I remember that academics writing that my poetry wasn't real literature. And their reason for saying that was because they said too many people were reading it for it to be considered good or literature. Because in the West, accessibility is a bad thing. Which made no sense to me, because I grew up in a culture where poetry was so accessible, where poetry was not this, you know, at the back of the bookstore somewhere. Poetry was in our everyday. And it's something that, you know, my grandmother did in the village. She couldn't read or write, but poetry was accessible to her. It's something that she could share with her grandchildren or share with her own grandparents. And it was intergenerational. And so that's the culture of poetry that I came from. And so when they said that it wasn't literature because it was too accessible, I was like very confused. And the journalists were like, oh, this is just like, she just like figured out a way to like market herself really well, and she's like a spoiled rich brat, and like she's appropriating experiences that aren't her own, and that was really confusing because I thought good journalism meant checking your sources. And a majority of the time, you know, critics are just like, well, this is not good because women read it. And it's a woman talking about her emotions, like, wow. And it's so offensive because why is it that when men do that, we're like fainting? And you know, and it's funny because when men do what they say is impossible, men get called geniuses and innovators. And when women do the exact same thing, we're treated with suspicion, as if we've tricked our way into the room, and we're constantly asked to prove that we belong there. And that has been my experience and the experience of so many women around me. And I remember feeling so broken by this and trying to figure out like, what can I do? Like, what can I do? And I remember talking to other women, and they told me something that just like broke my mind. They said that anytime gatekeepers see young women gathered around the thing, they automatically label that thing as frivolous, because in their minds, young women couldn't possibly surround themselves with something of substance. People are always like, whoa, what do you mean you're traveling to all these countries, world tour? Wait, what? Brazil? Like, oh, sorry, where's this? Where's that, all these cities? You're a poet, that doesn't make any sense. And I know it doesn't sometimes, but you make that a reality for me. So thank you for bringing me here to your beautiful country. It's so cool. And I know that, how many of you knew what you were getting into for tonight? Okay, you did. And then there's a lot of people who had no clue what the fuck I was gonna do. I know. Because this is what I hear afterwards, you know? And that's even better. It melts my heart even more, because I'm like, you had no clue, but you bought the ticket anyway and you came. How sweet. So thank you for reading my words and for trusting me and being here. And what this tour has done for me has given me the greatest gift. It has realigned me with my purpose, which is to continue to write and express myself honestly and share with you. And you know, I spent a majority of my 20s thinking, oh my goodness, I feel like my best work is behind me. You know, it's like I'll never write anything like Milk and Honey again, and I'll never do this, and I'll never do that. And I don't know where that comes from, but for the first time ever, I'm like waking up in the morning and I'm like, oh my God, my best work is to come. And so your love makes me believe that. So thank you. You know, it's difficult as women because it feels like we're given this much time to do it all, and if we don't do it in this little window, well then next, you know? And it's like such bullshit. That is so not real. And so I hope you wake up every single day feeling your power. Truly, because I have felt your power radiating at me all night long, and it's given me the strength to do what I'm doing up here and have so much fun. And I want to dedicate this next piece to all of you. I hope that you wake up every single day feeling and loving yourselves. The piece is called Laugh Lines. Give me laugh lines and wrinkles. I want proof of the jokes we shared. Engrave the lines into my face like the roots of a tree that grow deeper with each passing year. I want sunspots as souvenirs for the beaches we laid on. I want to look like I was never afraid to let the world take me by the hand and show me what it's made of. I want to live so hard that the black of my hair runs out. And when it's white all over, I want to enjoy the halo I worked so damn hard for. All the women I've called pretty, before I've called them intelligent or brave. I'm sorry I made it sound as though something as simple as what you're born with is the most you have to be proud of. When your spirit has crushed mountains, from now on, I'll say things like, you are resilient and you are extraordinary. Not because I don't think you're pretty, but because I know that you are so much more than that. It was when I stopped searching for home within others and lifted the foundations of home within myself. I found that there were no roots more intimate than those between a mind and a body that have decided to be whole. Oh my God, it's like I drink it and then it just evaporates by the time it gets over here. It's useless. This is like that part in the show where I tell you that there's only 3 poems left. Sorry. But I always like to warn everyone, okay, there's 3 pieces left, okay, 2, okay, 1. Because I feel like it would just be so aggressive to go on this emotional journey and then just like fuck off without any you know? I'm not even experiencing the emotions and it feels aggressive. And so this is my way of like creating a soft landing. Because I also have separation anxiety. It's not fair, like it's not fair. You know, we get like an hour and a half together and then it's like goodbye. So I have saved my 3 favorite pieces for the end. Timeless. They convince convinced me I only had a few good years left before I was replaced by a girl younger than me. As though men yield power with age, but women grow into irrelevance. They can keep their lives, for I have just gotten started. I feel as though I just left the womb. My 20s are the warm-up for what I'm really about to do. Now wait till you see me in my 30s. That will be a proper introduction to the nasty, wild woman in me. How can I leave before the party started? Rehearsals begin at age 40. I ripen with age. I do not come with an expiration date. And now for the main event. Curtains up at age 50. Let's begin the show. I felt beautiful until the age of 12 when my body began to ripen like new fruit. And suddenly, the men looked at my newborn hips with salivating lips. The boys didn't want to play tag at recess. They wanted to touch all the new and unfamiliar parts of me. The parts I didn't know how to wear, didn't know how to carry. The parts I tried to bury in my ribcage. Boobs, they said. And I hated that word. Hated that I was embarrassed to say it. That even though it was referring to my body, it didn't belong to me. It belonged to them. And they repeated it like they were meditating upon it. Boobs, he said. Let me see yours. There is nothing worth seeing here but guilt and shame. I try to rot into the earth below my feet, but I'm still standing 1 foot across from his hooked fingers, and when he charges to feast on my half moons, I bite into his forearm and decide that I hate this body, that I must have done something terrible to deserve it. So when I go home, I tell my mother that the men outside were starving. She tells me that I mustn't dress with my breasts hanging. Said the boys will get hungry if they see fruit. Said I should sit with my legs closed like a woman oughta, or the men will get angry and fight. Said I can avoid all of this trouble if I just learn to act like a lady. But the problem is, that doesn't even make sense. I can't wrap my head around the fact that I have to convince half the world's population that my body is not their bed. I am busy learning the consequences of womanhood when I should be learning science and math instead. And I like cartwheels and gymnastics, so I can't imagine walking around with my thighs pressed together like they're hiding a secret, as if the acceptance of my own body parts will invite thoughts of lust in their heads. I will not subject myself to their ideologies, because slut-shaming is rape culture. And virgin praising is rape culture. Woo! And I am not a mannequin in the window of your favorite shop. You can't dress me up and then throw me out when I'm worn. You are not a cannibal, and your actions are not my responsibility, so you will control yourself. And so the next time I go to school and the boys poot at my backside, I push them down, foot over their necks, and defiantly say, boobs. And the look in their eyes is absolutely priceless. Not even red flag, that shit was on fire. And so this next poem came out of me fully formed and finished. Oh, but the pussy is brave. Lest we forget how much pain the pussy can take. How much pleasure it delivers unto itself and others. Remember how it spit you out without a flinch? And now here you are using the word pussy like an insult when you're not even strong enough to be one. But she wasn't getting it, and so then I wrote this piece. Because I was like, I'm so mad. I can't yell at her anymore. I gotta support my friend, so I was like, okay, I'll just complain about it to myself. And this one is from Milk and Honey. Did you think I was a city big enough for a weekend getaway? I am the town surrounding it. The one you've never heard of, but always pass through. There are no neon lights here. No skyscrapers or statues, but there is thunder. For I make bridges tremble. I am not street meat. I am homemade jam. Thick enough to cut, the sweetest thing your lips will touch. I am not police sirens. I am the crackle of a fireplace. 'Cause I would burn you. Woo! And you still couldn't take your eyes off me. 'Cause I would look so damn beautiful doing it. You'd blush. I am not a hotel room. I am home. Woo! Yes, sir!